Hi, Taurus, if you're watching this video today, on April 12th, let me ask you something. Was it really a coincidence that brought you here? Or is it a sign? A sacred whisper from the universe guiding you, softly but intentionally, to the very message your soul is ready to receive? This isn't just another horoscope. This is a deep energetic transmission. And you, grounded and resilient Taurus, have been called here for a reason. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, a space where we tune into divine timing, universal patterns, and the sacred truth already blooming within you. If you're here, it's because you're aligned with a very specific frequency, a frequency of return, of harvest, of divine reward. Today, the universe wants you to know something big is on its way. Huge money is coming. Not just in the form of currency, but in value, in validation, in blessings that match the energy you've poured into this world. Whether you've been investing your energy into a dream, your heart into a relationship, or your time into becoming more of who you truly are, April 12th is a turning point. The universe is returning everything you've planted with love and patience. And the best part? It's all unfolding exactly when you're finally ready to receive it. Let's take a moment here, just you and me, to acknowledge this sacred pause in your life. You've come so far. You've been patient. You've held steady through chaos, uncertainty, and maybe even silence from the very things you hoped would respond. But Taurus, your energy never went unnoticed. The seeds you planted didn't vanish, they were simply growing underground, preparing for the right moment to rise. And that moment, dear one, is now. Take a deep breath. Tap into your body. Feel the truth of these words settling into your spirit. Now, let me ask you this. Have you been seeing angel numbers lately? 777? 222? Maybe the number 12, or 8, or even just a repeating feeling that something big is about to happen? Those aren't random. That's alignment. That's guidance. Comment below with an angel number you've been seeing, or just type, "I'm ready to receive." These are not just affirmations. They are declarations to the universe, and when we declare, the universe responds. And before we go any further, let me take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to you. For your presence, your energy, your sacred time. For every like, every comment, every moment of stillness you offer while watching. Every time you engage with this channel, you become more than a viewer, you become family. Your support fuels eternal mindfulness. It allows us to continue sharing these transformational messages with the souls who need them most. And believe me, Taurus, my loyal and powerful friend, you will want to stay with me until the very end today. Because what the universe is revealing for you is nothing short of magnificent. So tell me, what did you do, Taurus, to attract this message at exactly the right time? Stick with me. Because in just a moment, you'll understand why your patience is being rewarded, why everything you've given is returning, and why this is not just a prediction, it's a divine appointment. Let's begin. There's something incredibly grounding about your energy right now, Taurus. It's not loud or showy. It's the quiet certainty of someone who has walked through uncertainty without losing their center. That deep, earthy steadiness you carry? It's not just a personality trait, it's a frequency. And lately, that frequency has been aligning beautifully with a universal current of return and recognition. What you've poured your heart into, perhaps even in silence and solitude, is beginning to ripple back toward you in ways more tangible than ever before. This is a sacred season for you. You may not have realized it at first, because for Taurus, transformation rarely looks dramatic on the surface. It comes in steady waves, slow blooms, and quiet shifts that build into something monumental. What's happening now is the culmination of your inner work, your resilience, and your quiet faith. That's the beauty of your essence. You don't just wish for success, you cultivate it. And now, like a garden tended with care, you're standing at the edge of harvest. The King of Pentacles is rising within you, a reflection of wealth not just in material form, but in wisdom, maturity, and self-trust. He's the master of grounded abundance, someone who doesn't chase success, but instead builds the foundation so solid that success can't help but find him. You've earned this energy. It's yours. But what makes it truly remarkable is that you haven't hoarded it, you've shared it. You've poured into others, into your family, into your craft. And that brings us to the Six of Pentacles, the law of return in action. What you've given with intention is circling back to you, not just as a reward, but as a validation. There's a teaching, quiet and ancient, that reminds us, what we hold too tightly slips through our fingers, but what we offer with an open hand finds its way home again. That is the energetic truth embedded in your present moment. Your generosity, whether with your time, your patience, or your silent support, is now echoing back with real substance. Some call it karma, some call it flow. But no matter the name, you're feeling it, receiving it, living it. And then comes the star, shining softly over this chapter of your life. A symbol of healing and divine alignment, it reminds you that your light has never gone unnoticed. If you've been walking through seasons of delay or drought, know this: hope was never wasted. Every small choice to believe in something greater, to keep going when it felt like nothing was moving, has formed a bridge to the very thing you're now approaching. The star whispers of miracles disguised as timing. Of grace arriving not in fireworks, but in whispers, an unexpected opportunity, a financial gift, a supportive message that arrives just when you were ready to give up. This is your sign not to give up. Because something is indeed on its way. From a numerology perspective, this period is amplified by the numbers 6 and 8, both significant in ways that touch every layer of your being. The number 6 brings harmony, love, and balance, calling you to return to what matters most. It mirrors your natural longing for peace, home, and real connection. The number 8, on the other hand, reflects cycles of abundance and the eternal return of energy. It invites you to step fully into the flow of give and receive, not as separate acts, but as a unified rhythm. Just as breath moves in and out, so does prosperity. When you exhale with trust, the universe breathes blessings back in. If you've ever doubted whether you're truly seen or appreciated for all that you offer, this is your confirmation. You are. And it's safe now to receive, to accept, to expand. Start each day with this quiet affirmation, not as a wish, but as a truth: I am a magnet for abundance. Everything I've planted is returning to me, multiplied. Say it not just with your voice, but with your posture, your choices, your heart. This isn't the beginning of your journey, Taurus. it's the recognition of how far you've already come. And what's more, it's a reminder that no good deed, no heartfelt effort, no quiet hope is ever truly lost. It all returns. And now, it's your time. Sometimes the turning point in our lives isn't a loud event, it's a quiet conversation, a moment of eye contact, or the presence of someone who sees what we've carried for so long. After all the steady effort you've put in, Taurus, the universe is not only rewarding your patience with tangible outcomes, but also sending someone or something to walk alongside you now. What shows up next may look simple on the surface, but don't let the subtlety fool you. It carries the potential to change everything. You might already sense this person nearby. They could be a mentor, a guide, a new partner, or even someone you've known for a while but are now beginning to see in a new light. There's a quiet wisdom in the way they show up, not to rescue, but to reflect back your own strength. Like the Two of Cups suggests, this connection isn't based on imbalance or neediness. It's mutual, respectful, harmonious. And with the Hermit nearby, it may feel deeply introspective, like you're being invited into a sacred space of inner truth through shared experience. There is something beautifully practical about this type of support. It's not about relying on others to complete us, it's about recognizing that collaboration, when aligned, accelerates growth. Imagine a boat rowed by one person versus two people in perfect rhythm. The pace, the flow, the direction, everything becomes more effortless. Sometimes, the only thing slowing us down is the belief that we have to figure it all out on our own. But you, Taurus, are now being reminded, the right energy, offered at the right time, can carry you twice as far with half the effort. Opening to support isn't always easy, especially for someone like you who values independence and self-sufficiency. But consider this: what if allowing help isn't a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of deep trust in the flow of life? In the same way a tree allows the sun to nourish it, without resistance, we too must learn to let energy enter from outside sources. That, too, is an act of wisdom. This moment in your journey is calling for more than just action, it's asking for discernment. Discernment in who you share your space with, who you allow to speak into your plans, and who reflects the future you're building. If someone offers support that feels grounded, experienced, and quietly empowering, pause and listen. There may be something in their story that mirrors the next step in yours. And if you find yourself in the opposite role, as the one guiding, teaching, or mentoring, honor that, too. The path you've walked makes you a beacon for others who are still navigating the dark. There's a principle often taught through simple metaphors: a candle doesn't lose its flame by lighting another. Instead, it multiplies light. In the same way, this connection now forming in your life isn't about giving away your power, it's about amplifying it. Together, you can hold more light. Together, you can see further down the road. It's also worth reflecting on how often guidance comes disguised. You may not immediately recognize the person as a mentor or ally. They may come as a stranger, a colleague, or a friend who suddenly says the right thing at the right time. Stay present. Keep your heart soft. What you're being offered is not a shortcut, but a bridge. Take a moment to think: have you recently met someone whose energy feels grounding, whose presence puts you at ease? Have you found yourself unusually drawn to a conversation, a voice, or even an online message that seems to echo something you've been feeling? These are not accidents. These are cues. Life rarely screams at us, it nudges, it aligns, it whispers. If your instinct has been to carry everything alone, perhaps now is the time to ask, what would happen if I let someone carry a little of this with me? What would shift if I accepted guidance not as interference, but as grace? You're not here to prove your worth through struggle. You've done the hard part. Now comes the phase of smart movement, of wise alliances, and of recognizing that part of your strength lies in your ability to receive help when it's offered with sincerity. Something, or someone, is here to remind you that you don't have to do it all alone. The question is, will you allow yourself to receive what you've asked for? And just like that, Taurus, you find yourself standing at a quiet threshold, the space between what has been and what is about to begin. It's not always obvious when a chapter ends. Often, it doesn't come with a dramatic closing or loud celebration. Sometimes, it simply softens into stillness. A kind of inner knowing that something within you has shifted, matured, and no longer fits inside the version of your life you once wore so comfortably. What was once necessary has now served its purpose. And now, what awaits is the blank page you get to fill with new intentions. There's a sacred power in completion. The World card reminds us that true endings are never final. They are bridges, seamless transitions into something more refined, more conscious, more aligned. This is not about escape or rejection of the past, but rather an acknowledgement that you've integrated something valuable from it. You've learned, endured, adapted. And now, you're ready to reclaim your energy from every place you've once scattered it. This is where wholeness begins. As you reflect on what's ending, it may help to pause and gently ask yourself, what did I learn from this phase of my life? It's not about assigning blame or labeling something as a failure or success. It's about meeting your past with presence. Holding space for who you were, how you survived, and how those moments, both joyful and painful, have shaped your clarity today. When we make peace with the path that brought us here, we no longer carry its weight. Instead, we carry its wisdom. The Magician card speaks directly to this moment of recreation. You are not starting from scratch, you're beginning again, but with experience. With tools that are already within you, your focus, your voice, your resilience, your belief. Everything you need, you already hold. The only shift required now is the one from doubt to decision. From waiting to welcoming. The universe doesn't ask you to be perfect, it only asks you to be present, and to be willing to take the next step from where you are. In the practice of conscious living, there is a timeless truth: the mind creates momentum. What you repeatedly affirm becomes the reality you begin to see more clearly. So instead of asking, why hasn't it happened yet? Start with this: I am already aligned with the version of me who receives. Let your words be soft but intentional. One simple mantra you can begin with is, I gave with trust, now I receive with gratitude. This isn't just a phrase, it's an energetic turning point. A release of grasping. A welcoming of flow. So much of our exhaustion doesn't come from doing too much, but from holding too tightly. Holding on to past versions of ourselves. Holding on to outcomes. Holding on to beliefs that once protected us but now only limit us. And yet, as the seasons shift, so must we. In teachings rooted in deep observation of the mind, there's a reminder that suffering arises not from change, but from resistance to it. When we stop resisting where life is taking us, clarity begins to rise like the sun over a quiet field. This is the part of your story where you begin to trust that what you let go of won't leave a void, it will make room. Make room for clarity, for new relationships, for resources, for peace. There is no shame in needing rest, in pausing between chapters. In fact, these pauses are where insight ripens. As the old energy dissolves, you may notice that inspiration starts to return, not as pressure, but as possibility. Let yourself feel that shift. From weariness to willingness. From uncertainty to quiet knowing. What's ahead isn't being forced, it's unfolding. And this time, you're not reacting from fear. You're responding from wisdom. What you are stepping into now is not random. It's a response to your inner alignment. And the more you stand in that alignment, the more you become a magnet for what truly supports your highest version of peace, purpose, and prosperity. So breathe in. Reclaim your center. The old cycle is complete. The wheel has turned. And now, you get to write what comes next. What you've been quietly nurturing behind the scenes is beginning to show signs of life. Just like seeds planted beneath the soil, unseen for weeks or even months, the efforts you've made, whether financial, emotional, or spiritual, are now pushing through the surface. Taurus, your patience is not just being acknowledged, it's being repaid. Not all growth is immediate. But when it does arrive, it comes with deep roots, lasting results, and the kind of stability that doesn't waver with the wind. This moment you're entering is a time of visible return. And not only return, but expansion. The Seven of Pentacles reminds us that real value takes time. It's a card of steady progress, of learning to trust the invisible timeline of growth. If you've been tending to something with care, whether it's your savings account, your creative projects, or even your personal habits, this is when you start seeing the first real fruit. And more than that, this card speaks to the sacred pause before the harvest. A moment to step back and ask, what's working? What do I want more of? What needs to be trimmed for future abundance? It invites you to become an intentional gardener of your financial garden, recognizing that not all plants are meant to be kept, and not every opportunity aligns with your longer-term vision. Then comes the Six of Pentacles, a gentle but powerful signal that balance is being restored. What you've given is returning, not because you demanded it, but because energy is always in motion. If you've offered your time generously, supported others in quiet ways, or stayed true to your values when it wasn't easy, know that those choices are making their way back to you in the form of opportunities, generosity, and unexpected gifts. The principle is simple: when we give without grasping, life gives back without hesitation. And yet, this isn't about martyrdom or self-sacrifice. It's about choosing where and how you give with clarity, so your flow remains open and reciprocal. And then, just like the first shoots of spring that burst through frozen ground, the Ace of Pentacles appears. This is the energy of new beginnings in the material world. A potential job offer, a financial bonus, a new client, or even a conversation that leads to a game-changing idea. It's a window of opportunity, and while it may seem small at first glance, what matters is what you do with it. The ace is like a spark. What happens next is in your hands. You get to nurture it, protect it, and turn it into something lasting. From a numerological perspective, the energy of 888 and 777 is especially important now. 888 reflects a powerful alignment with abundance, signaling that you're in tune with a universal cycle of gain. It's a number that says, you are supported. Meanwhile, 777 whispers of inner wisdom and timing. Trust that what is arriving is meant for you. These numbers aren't magic, they're reminders. Markers along your path to let you know that the energy you've been moving through is shifting in your favor. Color can also be a helpful tool to stay grounded in this phase. Surround yourself with emerald green, deep forest tones, and hints of metallic gold. These shades don't just represent wealth, they reflect growth, grounding, and the luminous quality of sustained effort. Even a small shift in your space, a green candle, a leafy plant, a piece of golden jewelry, can reinforce the frequency you're aligning with now. As your relationship with abundance continues to evolve, consider adopting a more intentional approach to how you manage what's flowing in. One method worth exploring is the smart money method, 6 jars or categories that divide your income into focused, balanced goals. 3 categories for long-term growth, like saving, investing, and education, 1 for emergency backup, 1 for daily needs, and 1 for fun or generosity. When we give our money direction, it responds with structure. When we give it gratitude, it responds with increase. Taurus, you were never meant to chase wealth. You were meant to create it, slowly, mindfully, and with values that reflect who you truly are. And in this season, the return is not only possible, it's already in motion. Your part now is to stay open, stay grounded, and receive what you've worked so steadily to earn. There's a softness beginning to return now, a subtle shift from striving to allowing, from holding it all together to finally exhaling. Taurus, as the financial gains begin to unfold, there's a deeper, quieter blessing arriving right alongside them, peace. And not just any peace, but the kind that grows from within, that doesn't rely on external outcomes to feel whole. You've walked through uncertainty with your feet firmly planted, and now, as things begin to materialize, the emotional space to rest and receive is opening wide. You're not just being rewarded with resources, you're being met with renewal. The star appears here as more than a symbol of hope. It's a mirror. It reflects your resilience, your quiet endurance, and your ability to keep showing up even when the skies were dark. In astrology, the star connects us to Aquarius energy, visionary, healing, and deeply human. It encourages us to pour into ourselves the way we so often pour into others. Like water returning to the well, this is a time to refill your spirit. To listen to the parts of you that have been whispering, "I'm tired, but I'm not done." Those parts deserve your attention now. What's powerful about this phase is that it doesn't ask for more effort. It simply invites honesty. Emotional healing isn't always dramatic, often, it begins with simple things. Taking a slow morning without guilt, choosing nourishment over noise, letting go of timelines that were never yours to begin with. In your chart, this energy likely touches the parts ruled by Venus, your ruling planet, which governs beauty, love, and values. That means it's not just about healing past wounds, but about remembering what actually makes you feel alive. You may notice that your creative energy starts to stir again. Not because you forced it, but because you finally made space. When the inner environment is calm, inspiration flows like water through an unclogged stream. This is the essence of emotional clarity. It doesn't arrive in chaos, it arrives in stillness. And perhaps that's the greatest gift of all right now, not just that things are working out materially, but that you finally feel safe enough to feel everything you've been holding back. That is the real wealth. One of the most grounding practices during this time is self-reflection that extends beyond the present. Try writing a letter to your future self, 3 years from now. Not from a place of pressure or performance, but from compassion. Speak to yourself as someone who has already lived through the current questions and uncertainties. What would that version of you thank you for? What would they remind you not to worry about? This practice anchors you in your personal truth. It helps your mind soften its grip on control and shifts your focus to trust. There's also a deeper teaching here, rooted in the rhythms of life itself. Everything blossoms in season. Just as a flower cannot be rushed, your heart cannot be forced into bloom. But when the conditions are right, when light, air, and warmth align, it opens naturally. No resistance. No urgency. This is the time to create those inner conditions. Not by doing more, but by allowing more. More space. More ease. More gentleness. So if you feel emotions rise during this chapter, let them. If old stories surface, meet them with kindness. Your healing isn't a detour, it's the path. And just like the earth that governs your sign, you are allowed to be both steady and soft, strong and tender. You're not returning to who you were, you're rising as who you were always becoming. And in that quiet unfolding, a different kind of abundance begins to take root. One that doesn't need proof. One that already feels like home. And here we are, Taurus, at the edge of a turning point, where insight becomes action and energy becomes reality. Everything you've heard today wasn't just meant to comfort you, but to remind you of something much deeper. You have always been the architect of your abundance. Every moment of quiet effort, every act of generosity, every decision to keep going when no one was watching, it all mattered. Nothing was wasted. Nothing forgotten. The universe remembers. And now, the return is unfolding. This is more than just a prediction of financial gain. It's a confirmation. A validation of your journey, of your character, of your unwavering patience. The signs are everywhere. The numbers aligning, the emotions softening, the opportunities beginning to surface. This is your season of receiving. But not because you were lucky. Because you were ready. Because you chose growth over comfort. Because you kept believing in something you couldn't yet see. Let's take a breath together. Just one quiet breath. And ask yourself gently, what have I been waiting for permission to receive? Is it stability? Freedom? Joy? A new chapter that feels like home? What if that permission was never something you needed from the outside, but something you could give yourself, right here, right now? You're no longer who you were at the beginning of this video. You've moved through reflection, activation, and awareness. Now comes the most important step, embodiment. Bringing what you've learned into your everyday life, not as something to do perfectly, but as something to live intentionally. Maybe it starts with a new mindset around money. Or with finally allowing someone to support you. Or simply taking one step in the direction of your future self, the one you wrote that letter to. So I'll ask you this, Taurus. What is one thing you're ready to claim, starting today? What's one area of your life you're no longer willing to postpone healing or abundance in? And most importantly, are you open to receiving not just what you think you want, but something even better? If this message resonated with you, if it stirred something inside you, I invite you to anchor this moment by leaving a comment below. Drop a money with wings emoji or type, "I'm ready to receive." Consider it your personal signature, your energetic agreement with the universe that says, "I'm open. I'm aligned. I'm available for more." And when you do, you might just inspire someone else to say yes to their journey too. Before we close, let me say this from the bottom of my heart: thank you. Thank you for being here. For showing up for yourself. For choosing to grow instead of staying in place. Every like, every comment, every subscription, it doesn't just support this channel. It creates a field of collective energy that helps bring these messages to more people who need them. You're part of something bigger now. You're part of the Eternal Mindfulness family. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone you love. Let them know that abundance is real. That healing is possible. That life can shift in beautiful ways when we align with who we truly are. And as you step into the rest of your day, or night, remember this: you're walking into the light that you created with your own belief. The glow around you? That's you. That's your trust made visible. Until next time, Taurus, stay grounded, stay open, and keep planting seeds. The universe never forgets a heart that gives in faith.